Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for September 3rd. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday. The Big Brother 27 live feeds. It was day 57 in the house, and a bit of a slower one. It's a very slow day considering what's on the line on Thursday and the campaigning that really should be happening, but there's a lot of delays to the campaigning, so a slower day yesterday, but still some important updates that we'll get to. And with me to talk about them is Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I am great. Yeah, it's a slower day, but the week is certainly anything but slow. Just we're leading up to an eviction that means a lot going forward in the game as we're looking at who's still left, getting into jury. So I'm kind of just watching some of these conversations, wanting to like shake up my computer screen and be like, move faster, do more things. We have a big vote coming up. I want to see some bigger conversations happening, but we're inching our way there, and we're working towards some of these people really getting into their campaigns. So we'll get to it.
Yeah, it's strange that it was so slow. Again, considering like we've really been, or at least I've been anticipating such a push on Ava as a swing vote. Various things to try to get the vote locked in. But Vince really kind of took the day off for the most part. Did not talk to Ava much at all, and is really banking on talking to her today, Wednesday. And so I'll tell you
Well,
this.
well,
There's no real update on that yet.
Ava was sick yesterday, and I say that a little
Mhm.
hesitantly because I did have some doubts. Yeah, that was gonna be the first question I asked. Was Ava sick, or was Ava just looking for a day off?
Mhm. Yes. So, as you know, Keanu, the HOH, nominated Mickey, Morgan, and Vince, but Morgan won the veto, took herself off the block, and Ashley was nominated in her place. And this means that as of the morning of day 57, the votes stood. If Mickey stays on the block, she will go home over both Ashley and Vince. If Mickey comes off the block, Vince will be evicted over Ashley with Rachel, Will, Mickey, and Ava's votes. Ava having continued to say that she is planning to vote Vince out over Ashley. Ashley did a very good job of working on Ava the day before, and continues that for the most part through the day today. Although, again, Ava really did take a bit of the day off. So we've been anticipating with a big push on Ava, so much dirt to dump on Ava about the push to get her evicted this week, or get her at the very least nominated this week. Keanu already tried it, and Ava said, if Vince wants me to vote for him, he can do it himself. So he backed off. Kelly has not pushed, and Lauren isn't much of a pusher to begin with. And so it's really been on Vinny to use this information. And he's been waiting and waiting and waiting to the point where, like, it really feels like all of those mistakes that Ashley and Rachel made, the big one for Ashley talking to Morgan's not saying anything. The information on Rachel already at this point basically divulged, and it's getting a little stale, and it's starting to feel like that's not the stuff that's going to do anything at this point, and it's looking harder and harder to flip Ava's vote.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just starting with Ashley, as you were just talking about, I wish like I feel like I would love to see more people on the block have the confidence that Ashley has about knowing that she has the votes, because she's known since before she went up. She's like, I'm good. If I go up, whatever way this shakes out, I'm fine. It's not that she's sitting on her hands and allowing that to just be the case. She is still working on people and kind of making sure that's the case along the way. But just to see a player that has put themselves in such a good position given the current state of things, that she is fine and she knows it. Like it's a different side of being on the block that I feel like we haven't seen from many players, especially not this week, where you have, Vince and Mickey both kind of up in the air and we're waiting to see them put in that work. So Ashley, like, kind of being okay is a different angle of all of this that I appreciated watching.
Yes. So, with that in mind, Ashley not only confident that she's safe on the block, but also would like to consider the option. She mentioned this with Will the night before, of what if she comes off the block and it's Mickey versus Vince? She really does not want to lose Mickey. And so she's going to talk about this option with Rachel in the morning that, hey, if I do come off the block, I mean, wouldn't it be kind of best case scenario for Vince to leave this week? If Vince leaves, you destroy the connective tissue between Keanu and Morgan and whatever is happening there. You get rid of the person Lauren is dedicated to. It really clears up the board, and we get to keep Mickey as a number. Like, don't you kind of feel like we should head in this direction? This, of course, is another thing that we kind of anticipated, although they don't have as much sort of motivation because Vince hasn't even started campaigning yet. But the conversations are starting, and Rachel seems to be on board with this as well. They're like, well, how can we get the votes for this? We would need to be able to flip Ava, who really hates Mickey and really wants Mickey to go, even over Vince. So how do we figure out how to flip Ava against Vince over Mickey?
I understand the battle there, but all I can think of every time that this comes up is, of course, you have to do this. Like, if if it's Vince and Mickey on the block, a couple of these people, the Rachel, Ashley, Will, like, they still have a decent relationship with Mickey. It's not even close in my mind that they should get Vince out at this point. Vince is on the other side. I mean, he's obviously kind of in the middle and still part of the judges, but they, like, Mickey is nowhere near as in with the Laurens and Kellys as Vince is. I understand the whole pact that they made, with the judges forming in the first place and Vince keeping Rachel safe last week, but Rachel's not putting Vince on the block. Keanu did that. And if Keanu's going to offer Vince up, it's a shot you kind of have to take.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It makes a ton of sense. The biggest issue, of course, is, can they get the votes? And so they're talking about different ways that they can flip Ava, but they get a little freaked out because they noticed that they thought Lauren was maybe in the bathroom and maybe she was able to overhear what they were saying, which of course would be pretty devastating considering Ava is the swing vote to Ashley staying and Lauren is close to Ava. And if she overheard them talking about how to manipulate Ava into voting Vince out over Mickey, that would be bad.
I just want to throw out there, because we didn't have any confirmation that Lauren was on the other side of the door. They were just speculating about it. We didn't see. Lauren is afraid of her own shadow. She's afraid of talking to people in the game. I want to almost promise to everybody that Lauren was not standing on the other side of the door with the idea that she could possibly be caught sneaking up and spying on them. There's no chance.
Yeah.
We're open
so
door. It's not. Leave the house.
There's no indication throughout the day that this happened. Lauren did not tell Ava anything. She did not tell Vince anything. So I think this was a false alarm, of course. Yeah. But they did get a little freaked out. But again, the point is that this is in motion already. Now, on the other side of things, Lauren talks to Kelly and basically lets Kelly know, like, yeah, Ava's basically told me she's not going to vote to keep Vince. And Kelly's response to that is basically, whatever. I mean, I don't want to push her. Ava will get mad if we push her. And honestly, Vince isn't worth it. Like, whatever. If she votes him out, she votes him out. Screw Vince.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame either of them? I do think, of course, at the end of the day, they both still would like to keep Vince in the game. It's such a strange situation with both of these two women individually and their relationship with Vince, where obviously has been well documented. He has done nothing to be actually loyal to them. It's by convenience that they are both still in the game, or obviously for Kelly by her comp wins. At any point, Vince will sell either of them away in order to advance his own game. But still, neither of them have any better relationships with the rest of the house, so it kind of just defaults to them. And yeah, if he happens to go, they'll figure it out. It's not going to do a whole lot better to have the most self-interested player that we've seen in a long time be by their side going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they do talk about, though, that Kelly would like for Ashley to leave over Mickey. She would prefer Mickey stays. She would love to take a number away from Rachel. That's really the biggest motivator with the Vince vote, too, is that she just wants Ashley gone. Now, during this conversation, there was a bit of a situation where she's talking about wanting Ashley gone. And then Ashley walks in and she transitions to talking about the monkeys. There are monkeys in the bathroom, and the question was like, what does she mean by that? Was she talking? Was she making a pointed mention of the monkeys? Was she just trying to transition to generally talking about the monkeys? Given her previous comment about optics, you'd think she'd be pretty aware. So it was a little sketchy here.
Yeah, we should all be careful of what we say, especially after we've realized that the live feeds are on. A recent realization, apparently, of Kelly's. That's really just the end of the story. Whether she meant it or not, I mean, obviously, different story if she meant it, but just watch what we say. Think about it for half a second, especially when you are being recorded. But definitely always watch what you say.
Yes, and yeah, as you said, there's really not much else to report there. It just is what it is, and it's hard to know exactly how to interpret it at this point. But moving forward, there's some drama happening through the day about Morgan and Keanu, that they are spending a lot of time with each other, talking to each other. Morgan's making sandwiches for Keanu, and it's like, what's going on here? You know, wasn't he targeting her? And now all of a sudden she's making him sandwiches. And so Mickey's getting mad about the sandwiches. And then Morgan's getting mad that Mickey's getting mad about the sandwiches. And so the Mickey and Morgan relationship is still like very bad. And Mickey's talking with Will and Ashley and Rachel about like how close they are. So Mickey sees this. Ashley's also concerned again about this grouping of like Morgan and Keanu and Vince and Kelly, and are they going to try to get together and form some kind of alliance? And so there's conversation about this and lots of sort of tension still between Mickey and Morgan. Despite that, Mickey is telling Morgan that she will vote to keep Vince over even Ashley, which is pretty typical Mickey for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's going to come be a really hard decision for Morgan to have to make, Vince versus Ashley, if she has to come down for that vote. So the fact that, you know, she has somebody else that seems to not be like even asking Morgan, like you would think that Morgan wants to keep Vince, but if I'm Mickey, I'm like asking Morgan, so what are we doing, Ashley versus Vince, rather than just telling her, because then Morgan's going to run that information back to Ashley and Ashley hears it and she doesn't necessarily believe it, but it's still information that she's putting out there. I did just want to say, though, on the Morgan and Mickey situation, of course, it's been a relationship that's been deteriorating rapidly ever since the Jimmy week. So I every time that one of them is on the feeds talking about the other, I'm just picturing Jimmy at home with his popcorn, loving every second of watching these two not being able to hold it together after they thought they had the game in their hands. They said, we get Jimmy out of here, we're running the show. We got, yeah,
Tea party.
Yeah, it's so much for that.
Yeah. So this is important. So Rachel talks to Vince about this whole notion of like what's going on with you and Morgan and Keanu. She says Mickey is really spreading this idea that you guys are in an alliance of some sort, and he of course denies it. No. I'll never forgive Keanu for putting me in this position. And so they have this like fairly lengthy conversation. Rachel again sort of promising him she'll keep him over Mickey, and how Mickey thinks she has the votes and they should keep her feeling that way. I actually didn't love this from Rachel. I think that she is being too open with Vince generally here. This prompts Vince to go and talk with Mickey, and Mickey's just a dangerous person generally. The reason we thought it was nearly impossible to take Riley out of the game was because we didn't even know where Mickey's vote really would stand, given how vehemently she was promising Catherine and Riley that she would vote to keep Riley. And then after the fact, too, she admitted that she really was heavily considering it, that she regretted voting to keep Morgan in over Riley. And so, you know, even just offering up Mickey as a possibility, really, I think is a mistake here, because Vince then does go and talk to her, and she tells him, hey, Vinny, I actually would love for you to stay over Ashley. I secretly want this. Because I know that Ashley is really tight with Will and Rachel. I'm on the bottom of that, and like they're problems for me. And so if they actually left and like leaving you in the game, like that's kind of good for me. And I know I have the votes, so I'm actually thinking about throwing the blockbuster so that I don't have to get any blood on my hands, and you guys can all vote out Ashley over me, and I don't even have to cast a vote against her. But I'm definitely a vote to keep you in the event that I come off the block. And he's like, oh wow, yeah, I love that idea. And I love you, Mickey. You're such a godly person, and I swear on the Bible, I'm a vote to keep you over Ashley.
I honestly was so intrigued by these two talking. I guess that's been the case throughout some of the recent part of the season, but especially here today, just because who these two are as Big Brother players, both people that I think we thought early on had potential. And then, of course, you see so many of their flaws come out in the game, and you're like, oh, maybe not so much. But there's still little bits and pieces of something good within how they approach conversations and how they talk to people that, I'm like, I don't believe everything Mickey's saying to Vince. I don't believe everything Vince is saying to Mickey. And I'm like, okay, so there is like a little semblance of like that good Big Brother player still deep down in there, but it's just so hard to actually compute of like what they mean and what they don't, because they've both proved in such different ways throughout the season that maybe sometimes they do mean the dumb things that come out of their mouth.
I mean, if Keanu and Rachel are two sides of the same coin, Mickey and Vince are two sides of the same coin as well. Mickey is the Vince of her side of the house. She's the reason why they're struggling at all. Like if Mickey didn't exist, that side would be doing really well. Jimmy would still be there.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be such infighting. Rachel wouldn't have wasted an HOA, or not wasted an HOH, but she wouldn't have like wasted nominations on Morgan and Mickey.
Yep.
And even now it's just like she should be in a position where she's locking up votes for herself and Ashley against Vince, but instead she's doing all this, and this is really only bad for Mickey. And also it's like, who knows, Mickey could be telling the truth in this conversation. She's wild like that.
A lot of what Vince is doing throughout the day, especially when it like clicks for him, it seems like it clicks for him throughout the day, is let me make Mickey feel comfortable, because if she feels comfortable, it seems like she might actually be willing to throw the blockbuster. And wouldn't that be fantastic if I have a 50-50 chance of winning? But on the other side of things, it seems like Mickey could be similarly having realized that she should just get Vince's guard to come down a little bit. But I also don't know if I can give her all that credit.
Yeah, I now for the record, I think she is lying. In the same way that like, because every conversation she has with Vinny is just the two of them lying through their teeth to each other, because they are the two biggest liars in the house, and they just like constantly lie
For weeks,
and I think that's hilarious. Yeah. But I think she is lying. She, like, the way that she talks about Mickey or the about Morgan and Vince and Keanu, like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to like actually want Vince and Morgan and Keanu to stay in the game all together that she thinks they are. I believe what she's doing is her classic kind of like, oh, hey, no, I've always been with you and I want you to stay, hoping that she can secure his vote by doing this. She gets him to promise on the Bible that he will vote to keep her, when that's also a lie, because that's classic Vince for you. And so again, I believe they're just both lying through their teeth here. But the problem for Mickey is that trying to secure Vince's vote against Ashley, this is not the way to do it. And what she's really doing is putting herself in even more danger, where there was this movement to try to get the votes to keep Mickey over Vince. But she's now told both Vince and Morgan that she's going to vote to keep Vinny. Morgan runs this back to Ashley.
Yeah.
And Ashley's like, are you serious? What the hell is she doing? She's telling Morgan that she's voting to keep Vince? Like, screw her. Like, she's doing so much. Like, fine, we won't flip the vote to keep you. You're too much of a wild card at this point. Leave.
That's the part where it's like, okay, I see again some parts of this that feel like they're working for Mickey, but the part that is like very key that she is missing is if you actually have some loyalty to Ashley or are actually planning to keep Ashley in the game, you need to get to Ashley first after this conversation and say, hey, I just talked to Vince. I pretended like I'd be willing to get rid of you, and you should do the same, and make sure that you two were back on the same page, because obviously this information could get back to her. You're fighting against, the three of you on the block. That's what this scenario creates, is that you all have incentive to throw each other under the bus. You had to get to Ashley first. You did not. And so Ashley's going to be upset.
Yeah. So this is a problem, of course. Basically, Ashley, Will, and Rachel decide to stop the plan to flip the vote to keep Mickey after hearing about what Mickey is up to. And that is honestly the biggest progression of the day, is that there was a thing that was started and then halted because of Mickey's actions. We'll see if it kicks up again. I thought that this would kick off in retaliation for how Vince plans to try to flip Ava, which is to throw Rachel under the bus. And then once they hear about that, if they hear about that, then in retaliation, they will try to flip the vote again, potentially. So that's still a possibility. So keep that in mind. But for now, the planned flip to keep Mickey is off the table because she keeps being Mickey. Her and Vince are so similar, actually. The more like different dispositions, obviously, but the way that they approach the game is so similar. So Vince talks to Morgan after this. He talks to many of his allies, Keanu, Lauren, many of the same conversations, but basically saying, I talked to Mickey. She said she might be willing to throw the blockbuster. And while Morgan does not believe that Mickey will vote to keep Vince, Vince is convinced that, like, hey, we should try to convince her that she has the votes, and then maybe she'll throw the blockbuster. And so he really wants to try to do that. Again, though, I think this is a trap here. The more that Vince goes around working with Keanu and Morgan to try to talk to Mickey about this, the more danger he potentially puts himself in. It is a known thing that they're all telling Mickey she has the votes, but you just have to be careful, especially because this is not happening. She's not going to throw the blockbuster. No. So trying to actively make that happen by persuading Mickey of things and doing things that could get you in trouble with your other votes, definitely risky. But we'll see where that goes.
And just on that, I mean, yeah, a lot of the day was him having conversations with Keanu, who has no vote this week, or Morgan, who is also, again, the Ashley Vince vote could be tough for Morgan, but you'd think she still could be on Vince's side. There's so many other people that you would want to see Vince having conversations with and working on and talking about Mickey too, instead of the people that he doesn't have to worry about. And that's just the problem of, watching him try to figure out this plan. Even Lauren and Kelly, you need to spend a little bit more time with right now, because we're watching them have these conversations about, if Vince goes, he goes. Get away from Morgan. I know you really want to hang out with Morgan. We really, really want to hang out with Morgan, but there's a lot of other people in there that you should really, really want to hang out with instead right now for the next 24 hours. Get past that, and then you can spend all the time with Morgan if you stay in the house.
They are full on calling Vince and Morgan a showmance in the house now.
Rachel, every time it comes up, is trying so hard to be good and not be like, you guys see this, right? And Ashley, the same thing, making eyes, Vince. So what do you think about, how do you think your girlfriend Kelsey and how do you think your family is thinking about how you're doing so far? She's just trying to get a gauge on any of it. But yeah, no, it's all the way, it's, how could you not? It's just the hugs, the cuddles, the this, the that. You walk into a room and you feel like you don't belong there.
Yeah, and there's a couple of especially weird interactions between them. Him nuzzling into her arm, and people are like, did he kiss her arm? Just kind of flopping over on her in a weird way. Some of this happens in front of Lauren, who definitely seemed to be giving it a little bit of a side eye. She has a conversation with Vince later in the night. And it feels like there was a vibe that she was maybe trying to get some dirt on this. Do you have any secrets, Vinny? And in the process, she says to him, "Hey, I've got a secret. I just had to tell someone. I found a spot for hide and go veto. I was looking in the bed." I was like, "Are you kidding me, Lauren?
Oh boy.
Are you kidding me?" Literally, like the one thing I could give her some credit for over the last like month and a half. And she tells the absolute worst person for this as well, because I guarantee you, if he survives this week and they end up on the block together, which they very well might, guess who's not going to honor your secret in order to let you win the veto? No. That's going to be the very first veto he takes out of the box, right? Like you are so stupid for this.
One of the biggest running storylines in my mind of the live feed updates or just Taran Armstrong's Big Brother coverage over the years is that Taran has always maintained that he has a spot in the house that he knows he would hide the veto, and he's never told a soul. I've known Taran for a very long time.
The game I haven't told a soul.
He's never told me. He's never told anyone. It's nowhere near the book. It's nowhere near a podcast. You will never know until he is in there playing hide and go veto. But Lauren said, "Vince, let me tell you something. I got the idea."
So she goes, "So do you have any secrets to tell me, Vinny? Because I already know them all." He's like, and maybe she was trying to get the Morgan stuff. I'm not sure. Maybe she was just fishing. They end up talking about the Zach power. And Vince is like, "Oh yeah, Morgan told me like last week, or something." And they talk about like, do they believe it was real? Even Vinny is kind of under the assumption it was not real, that it was made up, because Jimmy just got to like pick have-nots or whatever, choose the HOH players and stuff like that. And so, they talk about that. They also talk about his plan to talk to Ava tomorrow, which is now today, and what he plans to say. Basically, he's asking if she thinks it's a good idea for him to reveal that he made a deal with Rachel. And she's like, "Yeah, but don't say that I was included in it." And I was like, "What do you mean? Why would you?" And then I remembered, oh yeah, Vince lied to Lauren and said that she was included in a deal he made with Rachel.
Oh, good. Look, she's never going to find out. She's never going to cross-check that information. She's afraid of Rachel. She's afraid of conversation. She's never going to find out at all, ever, until maybe even getting home, and then she'll still probably call Vince and ask if that's true.
I was just like so surprised. Like, oh yeah, in Lauren's mind, Vince made a deal with Rachel to keep her safe on his HOH week.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, you could in the Big Brother house check information by going to somebody else and saying, "So, this deal that Vince made that involved me as well. Like, just want to make sure
that would be doing too much."
Right, like you were good with that deal that I was a part of. Rachel would look at her like she had 6 heads, and Lauren would run to Vinny and probably believe every word that he said. So, yeah.
Her advice to Vince is like, she hates the indecisiveness. You need to like be more decisive. And so he talks more about like how he's like, "Oh well, I'm gonna talk about like how I'm like ready to play now, and like his my normal stuff, and so that is his plan, to talk to Eve. He's going to reveal that he has a deal with Rachel and that he's now ready to play the game decisively. And will this work? I mean, based on what we have seen and heard from Ava, this doesn't feel super likely to work. Now, it's Ava, and if Lauren comes in and tries to like support this, there's a chance it could work. There's and as the conversation goes, there's more and more dirt to dump on Rachel. The problem, I think, the biggest hurdle to get over is that Ava has expressed that she does not see Ashley as just an extension of Rachel. She thinks that they are separate people. And she doesn't like it when people link them together in a way that doesn't feel fair. And so campaigning against Rachel, I don't think is enough to get her to go against Ashley unless they have actual dirt on Ashley too. And so this is, I think, the biggest problem for them because they don't really have much dirt on Ashley. Only Morgan has that dirt and she hasn't revealed it. So so this is the problem. Again, there's a whole day to work and it's Ava and she really loves Lauren. And so there's definitely a chance this can happen. She is very scared of Rachel. There's definitely a chance that the argument of we need to take out Ashley because she enables Rachel, there's some validity there, but I do not think this is the best. This is not how I would approach Ava. I think there are much better tactics here. But ultimately, this is what he plans to do with Ava tomorrow. Today.
The thing for me with Ava is she always comes home, and home for her is Rachel and Will. At the end of the day, I think she's always going to go with what they are doing. That's what happened with the Riley vote, even though it pained her so much to have to get rid of him. We saw that vote, the crucial 5th vote there. She's always gonna, I really feel like, at least for now, especially given how little she wants to be involved in playing the game, she's not a player that will see this opportunity as, oh, let me really play the middle, and I don't like Mickey. Lauren and Vince could be a side. Like, that's not how her mind works within the game. She took a whole day off, whether she was sick or not. I'm not sure. I hope she's okay. She took a whole day off from gaming, and it was allowed because she was laying in bed, not feeling well. She doesn't want to make these moves. That's not the way to approach her. And unfortunately for Vince, I really feel like it's too little too late for his whatever. Ava's somebody that you really need to connect with by having a genuine, authentic bond with. And people who got in early on the ground floor of that with Ava honestly feels like they have her loyalty for the entire game, unless they do something drastic to ruin that with her. And Vince never had that, never had a good relationship or a good enough relationship where there was any level of trust there. And at this point, I think she's ready for Vinny the Lip to go at the earliest opportunity. And if I had to bet on it right now, I would say that she votes him out over Mickey if that's where the votes are going.
Yeah, that is definitely, I think, the most likely scenario. What I will say is, I don't think that Vince can convince Ava to vote to keep him, but I do think Lauren can. And that's like all Vince really needs to do is tee up Lauren well enough. Like it's not, he just needs to clear that low bar and then make sure that Lauren actually pushes after that. Because I think that if Lauren did that, if Lauren, I know, but I think if Lauren actually pushed, I think Ava would cave. I think that because on the other side, the only other person is Will, and Will also is not much of a pusher. And so it's really just a matter of like Will versus Lauren, and they're both pretty passive generally. And so, this is like, they just need to focus on it. If Ashley and Will get too complacent on Wednesday, thinking they've definitely locked in Ava, and Vince and Lauren talk to her all day tomorrow, there's definitely a chance it flips. But it needs to be approached in the right way, and it does, I think, require Lauren to lock in to make it happen. So
she sees, Keanu being more on that side than on her home side. And that's not the direction Ava wants to take her, not even just like necessarily her game, but just like her existence in the house with, like, being more associated with that group than the people that she finds more comfort in at the end of the day. She sees through Rachel plenty of times. She sees that, Rachel maybe did say my name, maybe doesn't have my best interest, but also Will is on that same side very firmly. And that's home.
Now, and again, though, like, I do think, because there's still that question in Ava's mind about Rachel, what was happening with the Renom situation, and Vince saying he has a deal with Rachel could really sink Rachel. And even though that doesn't immediately put pressure on Ashley, it does help shift things in that direction. Like, again, the information is on Vince's side. He just hasn't used it yet, and he doesn't have that relationship with Ava that Ashley has managed to make.
And he's going to be afraid to use the information, because if it gets back to Rachel and all of a sudden the judges want to vote him out, so it is kind of a tough spot, but a good player could find a way to do it. Yeah.
Right. And so that is the other side of this. once he starts pushing, if he pushes too hard against Rachel and it gets back to Rachel, now, I don't think it would. I don't think Ava's going to tell Rachel, but she might tell Will. And we've already seen Will tell Rachel, although he almost got in trouble for that. But if she tells Will and Will is feeling like, oh, maybe we do want Vince to go now because he's throwing us under the bus. And Will tells Ashley and Ashley tells Rachel, and they start thinking about this whole we maybe need to keep Mickey again thing. That could turn back into a thing. But of course, that would require them to flip Ava, which is also going to be very difficult. And I'm not sure that they can do it unless, again, of course, if Will really pushes Ava, I think he could get her to keep Mickey. But that requires Will to really push to keep Ava, or really push Ava. So that is the spot we are in heading into today, day 58 on the feeds. So stay tuned for that. There was a very late night conversation, very strangely late night conversation between Morgan and Keanu at like 3 a.m. that she's like wants to talk game with Keanu, and they have this conversation about how they're like, oh, look at us now, and he tells her about like, yeah, well, this is why I was so upset with Vinny. I had a final 3 with him and Riley, and she's like, oh, I had a final 2 with Mickey and a final 3 with Jimmy, and it's just like they really are like starting to connect more here, and it's like more reason to want Vince out, to sever this relationship, because she'll be so pissed at Keanu theoretically. Although if all of them vote out Vince over Mickey, I think she'd be pissed at them, not Keanu. But still, weird stuff and not going unnoticed.
No, definitely not. The judges minus Morgan and Vince. I guess Mickey was kind of included in that as well, so It wasn't fully a judges meeting talking about, is Morgan actually on their side? And she's been battling this certainly throughout this day and potentially going forward, of just this idea that a Morgan, Keanu, Vince thing could exist. Rachel seemed to pretty firmly believe Vince when he said that's not a thing. He put us on the block because he didn't want us to take one another off the block. And Rachel's like, yeah, no, that does make sense. And I think it does make sense as a whole, but it's hard to argue the fact that obviously now it seems like Keanu wants Vince to stay. Keanu and Morgan are having these conversations all throughout the day. Sandwich Gate was a pretty big deal. Morgan made Keanu a sandwich, and she's never done that before. So Mickey was not happy about it, and Morgan was not happy about Mickey not being happy about it, because what's the big deal? I made the guy a sandwich. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on with that corner of the house, and Morgan could be unintentionally hurting her bestie's game by having so much chatter with Keanu, but we'll see if she realizes that.
Yeah, and this was not Keanu's intention. He does not know that he did this, and certainly did not intend to do this in any way. But this is why it's so effective sometimes to nominate multiple people from the majority. He doesn't even know the majority exists. But again, sort of accidentally, he stumbled into a good set of nominations. Well, I say good, but losing Vinny actually is bad for him, theoretically. But like this idea, philosophically, theoretically, of 2 people from the same majority alliance splitting the group, because now Morgan has to be working against Ashley and Rachel and Will, because they have different interests with the people on the block. And so they are being split here, at least a little bit. Now, the problem is that because he's doing this accidentally, this is going to kind of like, they're just going to come back together at the end of it, unless something happens like they vote out Vince over Mickey, in which case he's just lost Vince, and that's also a loss for him. So again, it was an accidental setup, but you can see the seeds of why this can be a good move if done intentionally.
I also want to say, kind of related, kind of a little unrelated as we're getting closer to the end here. Mickey, I think, was pitching to, I think it was Lauren, it might have been Kelly. And she was talking about, next week I would go after Keanu. I was just like, that's a misread. That's not what you want to be saying. I mean, I know everybody, it's easy to go after Keanu at this point, but there's a lot of other people higher on the target list for those 2 than Keanu. So I don't know if that was the right answer, but maybe a little minor. I don't know.
All right. Well, anything else to bring up from yesterday, Matt?
Just some fun stuff throughout the day. They played some more Big Booty, which always fun if you're happening to catch that on the feeds. What the hell? Where's Rachel hiding these cough drops in the gym? She's got like a little baggie, and then she just sticks it back in the corner behind like the ropes.
Yeah, I haven't paid attention to where she hides it. I've just
She just
seen her with them
sticks it
out.
back in the corner of the room, and I'm just like, this is.
Yeah.
I mean, so we talk about hiding go veto. She's hiding go cough drops. It's just a very interesting spot. Actually, like in a lot of
Oh yes,
wrestling rings,
I did see her. She puts them in the boxing glove. Yeah, yeah. But what if
in
somebody
a
wants to
glove.
use it?
Well, then they will find a lot of cough drops. I think some wrestling rings will have like you can open like the cap on the corner of the ring. So I thought it was in there, but then I watched closely yesterday and that wasn't the case. Ava and Mickey's dream, that was all overnight last night, that Mickey had a dream the night before that Ava told her that she was the accomplice. And Ava was going on about that all morning because she's like, why are we still talking about the accomplice? And why is Mickey lying about a dream that she did not have?
Yeah. Yeah, that's I forgot about that.
Like it was on her mind a lot in the morning. She told Rachel about it and she's just like hysterically laughing. She's like, why are we talking about the accomplice? It's day 57, whatever it is. She mentioned it again to Will later. So, when Ava gets annoyed with someone's presence in the house, we can tell very easily. And I think that's just clearly where she's at with Mickey. And so, I don't know if Mickey lied about this dream. Mickey's lying about a couple things here and there, maybe game related.
She lies about everything, even her hats.
Yeah, exactly. So, who knows? But there was that. And I think that's about it for the day. Like you said, a quieter day, but we'll see where things go today.
Yes, we will. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, to update you on everything that does happen today on the Big Brother 27 live feeds, including this, fabled pitch to Ava. We'll see if Ava flips. We'll see if we get any more indication of where Mickey actually stands. We suspect that she's still with Ashley. You just never fully know with Mickey. So we'll do our best with that. Honestly, I don't think we'll get any further actual clarification because I think she'll just continue to lie to both sides as much as possible. But stay tuned for that. Of course, I'll also be live tonight on YouTube and Twitch watching tonight's episode, and we'll be here on the podcast to recap it all. And in the meantime, check out the book Behind the Mirror. Pre-order it at taranarmstrong.com. Check out my Patreon, where I'm covering Australian Survivor versus the World. Some fun coverage of that where I'm showing the episode, reacting to it, pausing it, analyzing in the moment, stuff like that if you want to check it out. And that's mostly it. Matt, what you got going on?
Let me just say, what a season. I won't say anything else in case people aren't caught up, but what a season.
Australian Survivor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Finale coming up. But wait, one more thing on this group here, or at least on Ava. If you happen to see Ava reading the Bible going forward, she explained why. She said late last night that she said if she got through this week safe, unharmed by Keanu's power, she was going to believe in Jesus. And so she's gotten through the week. She asked Keanu, where'd you leave the Bible last? And so she was about to go explore and do some homework and maybe some praying and whatnot. So, we haven't seen that yet from Ava, but if you do see it going forward, that's why.
She has talked a bit about being a bit religious before, but yes, this is really like
hammered it home this time. this way. Yeah. All right. Well, otherwise, of course, I'm talking the challenge on the Free Agents podcast, talking Big Brother all throughout the history on the Diary Room podcast. But more importantly for today, going live later today with Mike Bloom and Sasha Joseph, Dancing with the Stars. A cast has been announced this morning on Good Morning America. A whole new season kicks off 2 weeks from yesterday on Tuesday the 16th, and Reality Flash coming your way later today. I believe we'll be live at 3:00. I'll tweet it out if that's incorrect. Talking about the cast announcement and just kicking off our preseason coverage before everything else that's to come this season. We got a whole new feed set up, a Facebook group that's coming. So make sure to come check that out if you're interested in Dancing with the Stars. Reality TV alum Dylan Efron will be competing. I don't know if that'll be enough to get Taran to watch. Probably not, but you never know. Yeah. So that's that. Come check us out there.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today, and I will see all of you next time.
This is RHAP, We know reality TV.